guys, and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be doing a Q&A. I did actually put out a message on the community tab of the jamsarny YouTube channel a good sort of 2-3 weeks ago now, asking for you guys to submit your questions, and then life just got in the way and I never really got around to making the video, but I am around to doing it now. So I do apologise for the wait, but here we go. So also I do want to apologise that there hasn't been any videos at all for the last sort of week or so. For those of you who follow me on Instagram or maybe even Twitter, you'll know that I was away in the States for a few days. I went to New York with the better half. And, you know, I like videos like this as well because I can just kind of ramble a little bit and it's a bit of an update and I get to speak to you guys. It's not just solely about one thing. So yeah, so I went to New York with the missus and this is Sunderland related, so don't worry, it's not too boring. So literally on the back end of the flight, and bear in mind it's like a 7-8 hour flight, I noticed when there was about half an hour left of the flight, I kind of looked to the right of me and literally one row in front to the right of me was Mr. Charlie White. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is, what are the chances of this? And Charlie White was there. So as I was leaving the airport, because I didn't want to bother him and get a picture or anything, but as we were leaving the airport, we was in the queue for the taxi rank, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to say something to him. So I was like, you all right, mate? I had a conversation with him, you know, said it was good to see him back playing and what have you. And we had a really good chat about a few things, you know. I did briefly mention certain things that he'd said about Wigan and that on Twitter, and the Wigan Twitter just seems to give me a load of shit as if I was lying when I wasn't. Essentially, he basically just said, you know, it's a shame we're shit, joking at the minute about Wigan, but then Wigan fans took it to heart. You know, he's a fully grown man, he was just having a laugh and a joke. But I removed the comment anyway because Wigan fans seem to just lose the shit over anything, don't they? So yeah, so I had a good laugh with Charlie, which was, you know, it was really good, and we got a picture. So here's a picture of me and Charlie White, and I also ran into a Mr. Dhannoo on Brooklyn Bridge, which was absolutely mental. And what was funny as well, I was walking off Brooklyn Bridge and he was walking on it. He was just as I was leaving, so I'd already been up there. He was sort of crossing paths, and we kind of locked eyes, and he was walking past me, and we were kind of looking at each other like this, sort of slowly staring at each other, and I was like, Dan! Like, and then he came over to me and we had a good chat, and he said that he recognised me from the picture with Charlie. He'd seen that picture, so we had a good chat, and I can't remember what day that would have been. That may have been maybe Wednesday, and he did say that he was going back to the northeast. He was flying at 4 a.m. the following morning, and then immediately going off to Dubai with Sunderland, with the lads, with the team. So he was saying that, you know, he's going to be absolutely shattered. So yes, it was great to meet him as well. I got a picture with him, of course, and there's another couple of pictures as well. A few pictures, you know, there's me repping the lads on the Empire State Building, Times Square, on Brooklyn Bridge itself as well. Always taking an opportunity to rep the lads. But yeah, so that's everything, guys, to do with New York. But let's get into this video. You guys submitted a load of questions, so I'm just going to pick a handful at random. They're not always going to be about Sunderland. They can vary. If you guys want to, you know, in the future get involved in these Q&As, please do so. Keep checking out the community tab. And occasionally Instagram is usually when I do it, but I thought this time I'll do it on the YouTube community tab. So let's get the pictures up anyway, or the questions, should I say. I've tagged a few of them literally at random, and let's have a look and see what you guys want to know. So, first one we will get into. What should we get into? Okay, this one. Dean Slater 5584 says, do you think we can afford to go up to the Premier League with the current owner in the years to come? I hope he can keep up with the competition for players, especially in the Championship. Now, for me, with this current owner, with KLD, I think he will constantly adapt, and he does have a plan in place. So I think he will have funding there, but he's someone who isn't going to spend just for the sake of it, and we have seen that already, and I'm a fan of that. We've seen it with Ellis Short, where, you know, we can't argue, you know, some people still somehow do, but we can't argue that Ellis Short never put money in the club, because he put plenty of money into the club, but he was pissing up the wall, and he was giving it and being advised by the wrong people, whereas now we seem to be getting a foundation and an infrastructure of people who actually know what they're doing and what they're spending money on when we are going to spend money. Do you know what I mean? So I do believe that there will be a plan in place if we were to get to the Premier League, where he will eventually start releasing funds that he does have, because I don't think he's poor by any stretch. We know that his family have a lot of money tied up, and I mean a hell of a lot of money tied up. So I think he's just someone who he's willing to pay, but he's not going to pay over there for something we don't necessarily need, or isn't good enough, or isn't value for money. You know, we've seen that with the signings that we've made. You know, we have spent money. Sometimes it's undisclosed, so some people see it as if it's cheap, but it can be a hell of a lot of money, and some players, I think like Patrick Roberts, or I think it was maybe Clark, they have sort of add-ons that will build in time. So it's not like we're shy of spending money. It's just undisclosed at the moment. But yeah, I do feel like these could be the right way to go forward. It's just being patient, because it's absolutely a patient system at the minute. He's said himself, we're not ready to go to the Premier League. The club is not ready to go to the Premier League yet. Foundation and infrastructure is still being built. It's being set up. The team is still being set up. I don't think it is ready as of yet, as a club, not just a team, but as a club to go to the Premier League. But I do believe and have faith in KLD, yes. Next up, a Mr. Michael Bowers, a very, very good friend of mine and a great Sunderland YouTuber. Go on, subscribe to him if you haven't already. He asked, has your job taught you more things about people with disabilities that you may not have otherwise known? Also, love you, man. I just want to say, firstly, of course, love you, Michael. Very much, very good friend of mine, become very close. And he's a cracking lad. But yeah, so my job, for those who don't actually know, my job away from YouTube, because YouTube isn't a job for me, I am a support worker for adults with learning disabilities and challenging behaviours. I've done this kind of job for about 7-8 years now. I originally worked with people specifically with autism, which was very, very challenging. Of course, Michael will know himself, with autism, and this is what is going to lead into my answer. Yeah, of course, absolutely, because I definitely wouldn't have known, or I have learned huge things, particularly with autism. I specialise in autism now, I would say. Absolutely not an expert, because you learn new things every day. Nowadays, I don't work specifically with autism. I do work with some people with autism, but there are some with, be it as, maybe ADHD, OCD, there's bipolar, there's loads of types of people that I work with now and I support on a daily basis, and I do 24-hour shifts with these people, and sometimes it can be simply me receiving abuse, physical and verbal, for 24 hours, or it can be brilliant and it's rewarding because I'm helping these people. So it's one way or the other, but generally with autism, yeah, you will learn, and I know Michael will know a lot about autism himself, but I've learned that there's a huge spectrum when it comes to autism. There's a huge spectrum in which you can have someone who has, one sort of trait of autism which can branch onto a load of different things that relate to autism, and then there's another thing which can be completely separate, but it's still autism that can branch off. There are many variations and almost severities of autism. Michael, is very high functioning, as you'll know, whereas the others who aren't particularly high functioning or don't have much capacity. Some people aren't verbal at all, or they are sort of sensitive to sensory things, sensory objects, and there's a huge thing. So autism absolutely fascinates me, and it's something that I am relatively passionate about. And yeah, so absolutely, in answer to your question, I've probably rambled on a bit too much there, but I've learned a hell of a lot in time. I've learned how to approach people, particularly with autism. Yes, you need to be very, very wary of that. But yeah, absolutely, that's a great question, Michael. I appreciate you asking it. Glenn asks, what sort of timeline can you see the current squad being competitive for promotion, and how much quality will need to be added, or should we just go all in on developing the current stock? Now, if you ask what the timeline specifically for this set of players, the good thing, like you kind of allude to there, they are a young bunch, and I think in 2 or 3 years' time, some of these players could be sort of top six championship level players easily, because there was a hell of a lot of potential there. I don't think this squad, even with its developed potential as it is good enough to go up. I mean, anything can happen, of course, but I don't think it would be ready or good enough to go up. In terms of how much quality do I think needs added, I think a lot. I don't think we're a million miles off. I think we've actually shown that there is glimpses of quality already there, and on our day we can maybe compete with the majority of this league, but we are some way off, particularly defensively in my eyes. But with this current squad, and I think we need a little bit of sprinkle of experience, and usually I kind of prefer these. When I say experience, I don't mean chuck a 35-year-old in there. Someone who, even if they are 26, 27, they've spent the entirety of their career in the Championship, or the majority of their career in the Championship, and of course have the quality to boot. I think there is a sprinkling of that we do need. We need leaders in there, and I think we do lack a little bit in terms of leadership, bit of physicality. I think we absolutely need that as well. So I think, in terms of a timeline, I would like to say maybe 4 years, so we can really get a team, 3-4 years, so we get a team that is beyond ready to go to make that leap. So maybe 4 years, maybe. I will say that. Dan Wilkes asks, any plans to bring back your game videos? I enjoyed them. Now, there's actually a handful of these questions, quite a few that are very similar. But are you going to bring back FIFA, your gaming videos? What kind of games do you enjoy? Now, I did allude to at the back end of my sort of last FIFA series. I know that some of you guys don't care about the gaming stuff on this channel, but that is where this channel was built. It started off with just purely FIFA content. At the back end of the last FIFA, I did say, I kind of want a break from it. I wasn't enjoying it, and I kind of stuck with that. This FIFA was the first FIFA that I didn't buy on release day, and I literally had no intention of buying it. I literally played a couple of games with a mate, and even though I won both games, I just didn't enjoy it. I thought it was shit, sluggish, unresponsive, just as bad as the previous FIFA. And I really just haven't really enjoyed it. Then literally, I think it was a month after release, I think it was on my birthday or a couple of days after my birthday, I just happened to be given an Xbox gift card with a decent amount on it, and I didn't really have any interest in any other games on the Xbox at the time, so I put it towards FIFA and actually bought it, and I've probably played about 8 or 9 games of career mode and not enjoying it. Not enjoying it at all. I haven't touched it since. So that's my sort of thought on FIFA at the minute. And, I hated it when people used to tell me, oh, it's the same every year, because I'm like, oh, you don't understand. I've been playing it since FIFA 98, every single FIFA. Do you know what I mean? And so when people say it from the outside looking in, it's like, it's exactly the same. It's not. I'm not stupid. I know it's not. But this one, it just feels like there's so little effort in it. Feels very samey. The gameplay itself, I think, is poor. At times, it's just doing its own thing. I can't really explain. And I know some people go, oh, you just need to get good at the game. I'm literally winning games. I'm still infuriated at the end. Do you know what I mean? It's just not for me. I think maybe next year or maybe throughout this season I might dip back into it. But in terms of gaming videos in general, they're very, very long to make. What to you guys might look like a 10-15 minute gaming video, that actually takes about 5 hours to sort. Be it recording, editing, rendering, uploading, all boring stuff. It takes a long time. And these days I just don't have the time to give 5 hours, 6 hours of my day, with the amount of work and just general social life and stuff like that. And my life has changed from what it used to be. I just simply don't have the time for that anymore. Or at least to have a consistent series or something like that. I just don't have the time for that. So we'll see anyway. I'll never say never. SFC Potsy says, favourite Sunderland player and least favourite Sunderland player. For least favourite, it could be someone who wasn't good enough, didn't try or conducted themselves properly. I suppose for least favourite then, if you're going to say just simply either not good enough or didn't try or conducted themselves poorly, the obvious one is Jack Rodwell. I absolutely despise that man. He epitomises everything I don't like in a modern day footballer. He was almost just so unwilling to try, but happy to pick up a paycheck. He was saying how he wanted to try and regalvanise his potential England career, and then when we said, okay then, we don't want to play you because of your horrible attitude, we'll cut ties, cancel contract, everything, and he refused. And he just sat there and accepted a paycheck. He is the worst kind of person you would want playing for your club. So no, Jack Rodwell absolutely hate. In terms of lack of quality, and this might sound ridiculous and a bit harsh, but Lee Camp, I have never been so infuriated by a football player or football in my life. People who didn't really watch something closely, which I won't blame them, particularly in that championship season, he was an absolute joke of a goalkeeper. He's absolutely robbed a living, and how he's managed to maintain, generally a championship career for large parts. I know he's gone down a few leagues now, but he was so bad. It looked like someone had won a competition to play for Sunderland, and it was a joke. The way he played, and some of the obvious and horrendous errors, he'd go straight to him and he would just dive the opposite way, or would flap at everything. It was absolutely god-awful. So Jack Rodwell and Lee Camp, it's probably harsh on Lee Camp, he's probably a lovely man, but my word, he is by far the worst goalkeeper I've ever laid my eyes on. Frank says, what's your favourite video you've ever made? Now, the videos I used to be a lot more experimental with my content, because I'd had a different contract to work at the moment. I know it's boring, I keep alluding to it, but I used to have a smaller contract at work in terms of hours, so I would have a lot of free time to make sort of gaming videos and stuff like that, as we spoke about earlier. But then, I think it was like a year or two ago, I actually refused the new contract because I wanted to spend a lot more time on YouTube, and I did. But then in time, you grow, you want to earn more money, I need to pay bills and stuff like that, I ended up accepting and asking for the new contract again, and luckily I got it. I did used to like the sort of Simon Grayson skit videos or sort of outdoor videos. There was a handful, only a couple really, where I did like the crossbar challenge and stuff, because those videos, there's a lot of room for comedy. And for those of you who know me personally, you know that I love comedy, and that makes the editing process very fun. When it's just simply a match review or preview, I'm not saying it's not fun or I hate it, I don't, it doesn't particularly, it doesn't inspire you, because there's not too much you can do when you're doing a review or a preview, particularly when you don't have like, too much time in your hands. But yeah, and a lot of people say that on that sort of comedy aspect, when people actually meet me in real life, like be it at games or whenever out and about, they say that I'm nothing like on camera, because I'm not. I'm nothing like it, you know. But you're very restricted when you're only doing previews and Sunderland, you know, news or sort of update videos and stuff like that. There's not really much room for like comedy and stuff, and it's difficult to really portray your full personality, you know. And then I meet people in real life like, holy shit, you're nothing like. Do you know what I mean? And people who don't like Michael, they'll tell you I'm nothing really like this too much on camera. It's not like I'm being fake. I'm not. It's just there's not really too many avenues you can go down. Do you know what I mean? Even though people on the live stream who see my live streams, you'll see I'm a different beast. You know, beast sounds probably a different word, but or a wrong word to use. But you know what I mean. But yeah. So my favourite videos I'd ever made really were the sort of funny ones, like the skits and stuff. Those were very fun to make. And on that topic, has there been any videos you haven't enjoyed doing? Now, kind of what we spoke about earlier, the back end of FIFA, the last FIFA series, the last couple really, because not FIFA 22, but FIFA 21, the majority I still enjoyed it, even though it was getting a bit sort of samey and towards meh, you know, I mean towards the end of it. But then FIFA 22, literally, I won't lie to you, after the first sort of 10 episodes, I didn't like the gameplay, but I knew that I just had a commitment to you guys, and that's not me saying I'm a saint, but it's just true. I'm a sort of a perfectionist in the sense I want things to be complete, and I despised it. And again, on camera, it's not me faking it, but it would just become habit. I wasn't really that happy, and then editing it, I'd be like, oh. Because think, guys, if you just want to chill and play a game of FIFA, or you know, and have an hour playing, or someone's put a timer on you, you know, so you play a handful of games, you play at the hour mark, you're like, oh, now I need to stop, now I need to edit and wait for hours to do all this stuff, do you know what I mean? Which is boring stuff, but that's even if you're enjoying FIFA. So imagine you're enjoying a FIFA, then as soon as you hit the hour mark, it's like, right, you need to stop, you need to edit that 5 hours you can't play, you need to start editing and doing it. That's all well and good when you're enjoying it, but then when you're not even enjoying it, and then it's like, okay, you've played for an hour of a game you're not enjoying, then now you need to commit the next 4 hours of your life to getting the video up. Do you know what I mean? That was probably the worst for me. I was getting myself in a bit of a rut with YouTube then. I really was. So I just kind of, nowadays, I'm not so committed to getting a video up every single day, just as and when I can. You know, I'm not trying or screaming, or I'm not staring at numbers for subscribers and likes. Yeah, I ask you guys to subscribe or to like the video. That's massively appreciated. But I'm not going to die on that hill of that's what I need anymore. There's a lot of people out there who focus so much on likes, subscribers, and I just don't give a shit. Do you know what I mean about that? If you subscribe, fantastic. I'm very proud of where we come. I'm very proud of, we've got over 15,000 subscribers and what have you. The likes and stuff and your support, I appreciate. But I'm not going to, you know, be going mad over that. Dylan asks, if you could bring back any former Sunderland player at their current playing level, who would it be? So a former Sunderland player, current playing level. Not how good, not if, say, for example, Kevin Phillips. If I brought him back now, he probably wouldn't do so good in the Championship. But do you know what? I probably would. I immediately think of Jordan Henderson. I said earlier we need a leader. I think to put Hendo in the middle of that Sunderland midfield will be absolutely phenomenal, not only for his experience but his quality. And I think he's arguably one of the most underrated Premier League midfielders we've ever seen. You know, the way he can control the midfield, his leadership ability, his range of passing, and he can pop up with a goal every now and then. And I think he's a top quality professional and player to boot. So probably Jordan Henderson, if I'm honest with you. Sierra asks, what sort of games do you like other than FIFA? Now, for those of you who don't know, again, who are relatively new, a lot of you do know who do kind of watch the gaming side of things. I do mention it every now and then. I'm a massive Pokemon fan. I'm a huge Pokemon nerd. The game, anyway, I don't do the cards or anything like that, but I have every single Game Boy game I own every single game. In fact, one second. So this is how much I love Pokemon. So you've got literally Pokemon X, Y, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Moon, Sun, Ultra Moon, Ultra Sun. You've got Heart Gold there. And then here we've got double packs for the Switch. Every single Pokemon game that's come out for the Switch. and every single version as well. I'm absolutely obsessed. I love them. Scarlet and Violet have just come out a few days ago, and my life has been spent sinking hours into that, or at least every opportunity I do get, I've been sinking into them. So yeah, so I'm a massive Pokemon fan. I do love my RPGs in general. I've never been... Years ago I was a COD guy, and then I kind of fell out of love with it when it started to go a bit crazy, you're running up walls and shit like that. I love the sort of old school, sort of just general war style. So I fell out of love with that. But yeah, it's generally Pokemon is always my go-to when I'm gaming. FIFA, it did used to be FIFA, but now, like I say, I fell out of love with it. Yeah, there's other games like Skyrim, those kind of games as well. There's loads. Every now and then a game will just pop up that I never thought I'd like, and I'll try it, and I'd get absolutely addicted to. But yeah, Pokemon it's my life. Now the final question, and to be fair, this is a question that gets asked every single time we do a Q&A, be it from Instagram, Twitter, or this. Would you ever consider moving to Sunderland and keep up the good work, Sarny? So thank you very much, I will keep up the good work. And would you ever move? Again, I will never ever say never. I'll never ever say never, I never will. I was incredibly close a good few years ago, about 3-4 years ago. I was very close. In fact, I was speaking with people in Sunderland and with the sort of right people, and I was going to start coming up to look at places. But then an opportunity arose where basically a house filled with my friends essentially said, a space is here, do you want to come live here? And at that point, I'd only ever lived with, partners and stuff like that in the past, and I'd never lived with a house full of my mates, do you know what I mean? Which just seemed like too good a chance and too good an opportunity to miss. So I went and did that, and now I'm in a place by myself in Blackpool. But yeah, so that was very very close. Again, I'll never say never. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I won't be heartbroken. But I do love Sunderland. I absolutely love Sunderland, as much as what other people might say. I absolutely love that place. And people who see me when I go up there, they'll see the smile on my face. I adore it. Absolutely love Sunderland, but we'll see. But that'll be it, guys. I know there has been a very random variation, and there was loads of there's literally another 30 plus questions that were asked, and people filtered onto Instagram as well and asking questions. But this is just everything I have time for today, all picked at random. So that is it, guys. If you have any more questions, ask them down below, and then they might even be chucked on the next one when I do it. I'll try and do these a bit more often. I do like just having a chill back, or chilled out, laid back kind of video where I can just sit here and ramble. Some of you guys enjoy it, some of you guys don't. Some of you probably clicked off after 2 minutes, but there we go. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. Thanks for the questions, and apologies again to those who didn't get chosen. Better luck next time. You might get your chance then. But there you go. If you have enjoyed, hit the like button. Subscribe if you are new to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care and stay jammy.